Today, we're sharing one of the most heartbreaking medical stories to come out of the UK. This is the story of Andre Yarham, a young man from Norfolk who developed dementia in his early 20s and sadly passed away at just 24 years old. In this video, we'll explore what happened to Andre, the science behind his incredibly rare condition, and why his legacy is so important for the future of dementia research. Andre was only 22 when his family first noticed subtle, yet worrying, changes. He started becoming forgetful, often repeating tasks he'd just done. Sometimes he'd seem distant, almost blank. His mother, Sam, initially thought it might be stress or just a phase, but the symptoms didn't go away. In fact, they got worse. A major red flag was at Sam's wedding in 2022. Andre, who was usually the life of the party, lively, social, and chatty, left early, saying he'd simply had enough. This was completely out of character for him. Soon after, the memory lapses became more frequent. He'd go to the shop and forget what he went for, or leave the house without knowing why. His speech started to change, his behaviour became erratic, and Sam's maternal intuition screamed that something was very, very wrong. Desperate for answers, Sam took Andre to their local GP after an initial assessment. He scored highly for autism, but Sam knew that wasn't the whole story. She trusted her gut and pushed for more comprehensive tests. Andre was then referred for an MRI scan. The results were utterly devastating. The consultant brought Sam and Andre into a room and explained that Andre had severe frontal lobe atrophy. This means the parts of his brain responsible for personality, behavior, and language were shrinking at an alarming rate. The doctor's words were chilling. If he hadn't known whose scan he was looking at, he would have assumed it belonged to a 70-year-old with advanced dementia. Andre was officially diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, one of the rarest and most aggressive forms of the disease. So, what exactly is FTD? Unlike Alzheimer's, which typically affects memory first, FTD primarily targets the frontal and temporal lobes of the brain. These areas are our control centers for personality, emotion, and language. This is why Andre's first symptoms weren't just memory loss, but drastic changes in his behavior and social interactions. FTD is often called a young person's dementia because it tends to strike earlier, usually between the ages of 45 and 65. But for it to appear in someone as young as Andre was almost unheard of, making his case exceptionally rare. The doctors told Sam that Andre was the youngest person in the UK ever to be diagnosed with this condition. The news was a gut punch. There was no cure, no treatment to slow it down. The only thing they could do was manage the symptoms and make him as comfortable as possible. Following the diagnosis, Andre's condition deteriorated rapidly. The once vibrant and independent young man needed round-the-clock care. Simple daily tasks like eating, dressing, and communicating became monumental challenges. Sam had to give up her job to become his full-time caregiver. She described the experience as watching her son disappear before her very eyes. The man he was, his personality, his sparkit, was all being erased by the disease. Andre lost his ability to speak and eventually couldn't recognize his own family. It was an incredibly cruel and painful journey for everyone who loved him. Imagine seeing your child, who you've raised and nurtured, slowly fade away while still being physically present. It's a form of grief that is constant and unrelenting. But amid this immense tragedy, Sam found a new purpose: to raise awareness and fight for better research. She was shocked to discover how little support and understanding there was for young onset dementia. Medical professionals were often dismissive at first, and the public generally associates dementia with old age. Sam started sharing Andre's story, connecting with other families, and campaigning for more funding. She wanted to ensure that no other family would have to fight so hard for a diagnosis, and that Andre's struggle would lead to change. Her advocacy became a powerful force, shedding light on a little-known aspect of this devastating disease. She became a voice for the voiceless, channeling her pain into a mission to help others. The heartbreaking end to Andre's journey came in May 2024. At just 24 years old, he passed away. His battle was over, but his legacy was just beginning. Through genetic testing, it was discovered that Andre carried a faulty gene linked to FTD. This gene, known as the progranulin or GRN gene, is responsible for creating a protein that helps protect brain cells. When the gene is mutated, the protein isn't produced correctly, leaving the brain vulnerable to the kind of damage seen in FTD. This genetic link is crucial because it opens up avenues for future research. Scientists can study this specific gene mutation to better understand how FTD develops and, hopefully, find ways to intervene. This genetic discovery has profound implications not just for science, but for Andre's family. The faulty gene can be passed down through generations. This means that other members of Andre's family could also be at risk. Sam has spoken about the difficult decisions this creates, whether other family members should get tested, and what they would do with that knowledge. It's a heavy burden to carry, but it also provides a clear target for researchers. By focusing on the GRN gene, scientists are now working on gene therapies and other treatments that could one day prevent or even cure this form of dementia. Andre's tragedy has provided a vital piece of the puzzle. Andre Yarham's story is a stark reminder that dementia is not just a disease of the elderly. It can affect anyone at any age. His mother Sam's tireless campaigning has brought national attention to the issue of young onset dementia, highlighting the urgent need for more research, better diagnostic tools, and greater support for families. She continues to work with charities like the National Brain Appeal, raising funds specifically for FTD research. Her goal is to create a future where a diagnosis like Andre's is not a death sentence. By sharing his story, she hopes to spare other families the pain her family endured. If this story has touched you, please consider learning more about frontotemporal dementia and the organizations working to fight it. Every bit of awareness helps. Andre's life was cut tragically short, but his impact will be felt for years to come, fueling the search for a cure and offering hope to countless others. Thank you for watching and for helping us share his important story. If you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe for more deep dives into stories that matter. We often think of dementia as something that happens in old age, but some forms can strike shockingly early and progress with frightening speed. One of these is frontotemporal dementia, or FTD, unlike Alzheimer's disease, which typically affects memory first. FTD attacks the parts of the brain that control our personality, behavior, and language skills, the frontal and temporal lobes. These are the areas that let us plan, control our impulses, understand what others are saying, and express our own thoughts. When these regions start to break down, people can change in ways that are deeply distressing for their families. They might become withdrawn, impulsive, or suddenly lose their ability to communicate. FTD is thought to account for about 1 in every 20 cases of dementia. What makes it particularly cruel is its ability to appear in young adulthood. For many, FTD has a strong genetic link. Specific gene mutations can disrupt how brain cells process certain proteins. Instead of being broken down and recycled, these proteins clump together inside the neurons, blocking their normal function. Over time, these brain cells stop working and die. As more and more cells are lost, the brain tissue itself actually shrinks. Why this devastating process sometimes begins so early in life isn't fully understood, but when a powerful genetic mutation is involved, the disease doesn't need decades to develop. The damage accelerates at an alarming rate. Brain scans taken while Andre was still alive showed dramatic shrinkage for someone so young. It's not that his brain aged faster than a 70-year-old's. That comparison is misleading. Instead, it was a rapid loss of a massive number of neurons in a very short period. In healthy aging, the brain changes slowly and gradually. But in aggressive forms of dementia like FTD, entire neural networks can collapse almost all at once. This explains why Andre's speech declined so suddenly and why his need for full-time care escalated so quickly. As the disease progressed, Andre lost his independence. He struggled to speak, then to walk, and eventually he needed help with every part of his daily life. His wife Sam made the incredible sacrifice of leaving her job to become his full-time caregiver. She helped him dress, bathe, eat, and simply stay safe. The family decided to create a bucket list to bring Andre as much joy as they could while they still had the chance. They went on amazing adventures, like visiting Shrek's Adventure in London and even riding in a professional drifting car. They were determined to make as many precious memories together as possible. But by late 2024, Andre's condition took a sharp downturn. The disease was progressing rapidly. He moved into a care home and was soon hospitalized after repeated falls and infections. His ability to speak faded almost completely. Within just a few weeks, he needed a wheelchair to get around. Eventually, the doctors had to deliver the heartbreaking news to the family. Andre was entering end-of-life care. Just before Christmas, he was moved to a hospice. He passed away on December 27th, surrounded by his loving family. Andre's story is a powerful reminder of the devastating impact of effort. It highlights the urgent need for more research, better treatments, and greater support for families navigating this incredibly difficult journey. While there is currently no cure, organizations around the world are working tirelessly to change that. They fund research into the causes of FTD, develop new diagnostic tools, and search for effective therapies. They also provide vital resources for patients and their caregivers, offering support groups, educational materials, and guidance on managing the challenges of the disease. If you or someone you know is affected by FTD, please know that you are not alone. There are communities and resources available to help. We'll link some of them in the description below. Thank you for watching and for helping us raise awareness about this important issue. After Andre's death, his family made an extraordinary and selfless decision. They chose to donate his brain to scientific research. This single act of generosity holds the power to unlock critical secrets about frontotemporal dementia, especially why it can strike someone so young and vibrant. This gift could be the key to helping scientists understand how to prevent others from going through the same devastating experience. Currently, there is no cure for dementia. The treatments available today can sometimes slow the symptoms, but their effects are often limited and temporary. A huge part of this challenge lies in the brain's incredible complexity. It's the most intricate organ in our body, and we're still just scratching the surface of how it works. On top of that, cases like Andre's, known as early onset dementia, are extremely rare. This rarity makes them incredibly difficult to study on a large scale. This is where the profound impact of brain donation comes in. Every single brain donated to science is an invaluable resource. It allows researchers to move beyond what they can see on scans of living patients. Scans can show us changes in brain structure, but they can't tell us what's happening at the microscopic level. By studying the brain tissue itself, scientists can investigate the very cellular and molecular mechanics of the disease. They can see exactly what went wrong. For example, they can identify which specific proteins have misfolded and accumulated, creating toxic clumps that kill brain cells. They can determine which types of brain cells were the most vulnerable to the disease's attack. They can also analyze how inflammation and the body's own immune response might have contributed to the damage, a growing area of interest in neurodegenerative research. Think of it like a detective story. A scan might show that a house has been damaged, but examining the brain tissue itself is like going inside to find the fingerprints, the clues, and the exact cause of the destruction. This detailed, microscopic knowledge is not just for academic curiosity. It feeds directly into the development of new treatments. When scientists understand the specific proteins involved, they can design drugs that target those proteins, clearing them out or preventing them from clumping together in the first place. When they know which cells are vulnerable, they can explore therapies to protect those cells. This research is the foundation for creating treatments that could one day slow, stop, or even prevent dementia from ever taking hold. Andre's donation is not just a gift for today's scientists. It's a legacy that will continue to guide research for generations to come. The tissue samples can be preserved and studied for decades, answering questions that we haven't even thought to ask yet. As our technology and understanding evolve, his brain will continue to provide new insights. Andre's final act was one of immense hope, a contribution that may help protect countless families in the future. Andre's story is a powerful, urgent reminder that dementia is not exclusively a disease of old age. It can affect young people in the prime of their lives, suddenly, aggressively, and often without any warning. It can shatter families, steal futures, and leave a trail of heartbreak. Andre's family, in their immense grief, has chosen to share his journey with the world for a very important reason. They want to raise awareness, to break down the misconception that dementia only happens to the elderly. They hope that by hearing Andre's story, people will be more vigilant about the early signs of cognitive change, no matter the person's age. An early diagnosis, while not a cure, can make a world of difference. It gives families time to plan, to access support services, and to make the most of the time they have together. It allows the person with dementia to have a voice in their future care. Furthermore, Andre's family wants to inspire a greater push for research, especially into these rare early-onset forms of dementia that are so often overlooked. Their message is simple, but incredibly profound. Awareness saves time, research saves lives, and every single story that is shared helps to move science forward. By speaking out, they are turning their personal tragedy into a rallying cry for change. They are honoring Andre's memory by fighting for a future where no other family has to endure what they went through. This video is dedicated to Andre, to his loving family, and to every single person whose life has been touched by early-onset dementia. The courage they've shown in sharing this deeply personal story, and their incredible decision to donate Andre's brain to research, is a beacon of hope. It's an act that has the potential to protect future generations from this cruel disease. We ask you to carry their message forward. Stay informed about the signs of dementia. Stay compassionate to those who are affected by it and their caregivers. And stay aware of how real stories like this one are not just stories, they are the very fabric that shapes our understanding of the world and drives the quest for a cure. Thank you for watching.